well, it's week 2 here at AT&T Training Camp in Flowery Branch, and the pads have officially come on for this team. Of course, Taylor Vismor, Dave Archer, we're going to be breaking down everything for camp this week for you guys, what we've seen, what we would like to see more of, but pads are on. How exciting is that to have pads back on?
Yeah, you know what, I think the linemen love it because a lot of times when you're using the soft shells or it's just, you know, your body against the other guy's body, you can get a little banged up in there. So pads going on, but it kind of makes it feel a little bit more real. You're actually playing football now, we're not playing tag. From a quarterback perspective, I always try to wear my pads anyway because I felt like that if I went out there, I was cheating somehow because I didn't have pads on that were kind of restricting my arm a little bit.
Right.
So I think we tried to keep the pads on as a quarterback anyway. But no, as soon as the pads go on, now legitimately we're in training camp. We're now trying to get ready to go win some football games.
Yeah, I think you can also feel the excitement. Obviously, last week with camp just coming back in general, everyone was excited to be back in the building. But now, you know, you put the pads on, and like you said, it kind of ups the ante a little bit. It feels more like real football in a way. And so you can kind of feel the excitement from the players and the coaches. And I also think, too, it kind of ups the ante of your expectations that coaches and front office staff might have for this team. And General Manager Terry Fontenot spoke to media earlier today discussing the expectations for this team as training camp continues.
Everyone knows, everyone's on the same page in what we're talking about. So players know that, okay, Big Eddie Goldman, hey Eddie, we want you to come back at this weight and this is the position that you're going to be playing for us. It's very clear and everybody can set. So everyone knows what the expectation is. No different if you're talking about a coach or a scout. There's very clear communication with those players. But again, from Raheem to the entire coaching staff, they're all such good communicators in that we're all on the same page. So we're all saying the same things to the players. So there's been a very clear, direct communication in that way, and it's been good.
All right, so they have a very clear expectation for this team. So in your own opinion, in your own words, what is that expectation for this team?
Well, I think that he touches on a lot there, okay?
Right.
So from an expectation standpoint, it's expectation about how you want camp to go. There's expectations. He talked about what individual players are being asked to do. Now those responsibilities will blossom as they nail down what they initially are told to do, and they'll expand on what those guys can do and but there's also, you know, how we're going to practice, you know, when the meetings are going to be. So he's talking about the whole organization being on the same page. Now you don't have the anxieties. You don't have to worry about, hey, am I supposed to be over here? What's going on over here? What's next? All that's played out. I think every organization, all 32 teams are trying to be on the same page. The ones that do that the best are the ones that hit the ground running, start opening day when they get off to a good start. We got the Steelers to start off with. So which of the teams are going to have their ducks in a row, so to speak, to be able to hit the ground running and get off to a fast start?
I love that you mentioned hitting the ground running because Zac Robinson spoke to media earlier this week and said that when they came back from training camp or from summer break to training camp, it wasn't like we were just starting with a clean slate. They had worked a ton over the offseason program time to work on the plays and work on a cadence for your quarterbacks and different wide receivers and specialty players. But to come from OTAs and build something there and then come to training camp and continue to build on that, it's only going to help this team going forward, but it also raises expectations. And I know we talked about him a little bit last week, but someone that I think has a heightened expectation, not just maybe from this coaching staff, but from the fans and NFL in general, is Kyle Pitts.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think his expectations have changed coming into this season?
Well, I think that first of all, they have to change for him. Right. I mean, Kyle had such a monster year his rookie year, and he had Matt Ryan throwing him the football. Well, a very similar guy just walked in the building here about 2 months ago that's going to be able to distribute the ball. It's been a frustrating couple of years for Kyle. He had the injury, you know, 2 years ago, and then he had to kind of fight through the mental part of the injury and then maybe not being used to the efficiency that they needed to use him at. Use him as the kind of weapon he could potentially be. He senses that's all changed. And he is playing with a different speed. You and I have watched it. Taylor, this guy is playing with a purpose. This looks like the guy we saw 3 years ago that came in here as a rookie, the 4th overall pick. You and I have talked about it. I've said it a couple times on different outlets, whether it's on the radio here locally or wherever here on AtlantaFalcons.com. If you can get a tight end and put him on your fantasy team, this is the guy to go get. I'm telling you, he is locked in. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities. So expectation level, first of all, had to rise for him,
right,
which I think it did. And then when Kirk Cousins walked in the building, it rose again a little bit more. And now with Zac Robinson calling the shots and how much they've moved him around and how much they're going to use him and how much we've seen him catch the ball. I mean, he's got a season worth of balls in the first week of camp. The expectation level is through the roof for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, like you said, how many balls he's caught so far in camp. Obviously, his production has gone up because of training him as a tight end and also using him in wide receiver routes as well. But I think, too, he's super hungry this year. I think a little bit more than we've seen him in the past. You mentioned, obviously, his sophomore season with the knee injury and then coming off of that, the mental of that all. It's a lot. So this year, he's got this clean slate. It's his 4th season. He knows what's coming in that 5th year, possibly a new contract for him. And this is a year for him to prove himself that he can be that rookie. You know,
Absolutely.
I spoke to him a couple earlier when he first got to training camp, and I said, what do you want the coaches to know and the fans to know and really this organization to know about you coming into this season? And he said that I am the same guy that I was when I was a rookie, and I'm the same guy that y'all drafted when I was at Florida. I'm not even just that guy. I'm better than that, and I'm going to prove that to you this year. So hearing that from Kyle coming out of the jump before he even really set foot in training camp and is now proving himself that that was correct. But to hear him say that, I mean, the guy's hungry, you got to get behind him if that guy's saying it and he's catching as many balls as he is right now. It's so fun to watch him.
Well, and you started us off by talking about what is the expectation. And I said, well, his expectation has got to be more than anybody else's expectation. Right. And by you saying, you told a story about what he told you and talked to you about, that expectation level is through the roof. And I think that I love the fact he's come in with an aggressive, he's attacking the football. He's hearing Zac Robinson talk about him. I asked Zac in the presser, and Zac talked about, I said, did you actually sit down with Kyle and talk to him about what his role would be? Again, getting back to what Terry talked about in that clip we displayed, very defined idea. They definitely brought Kyle in and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. You're going to be able to do this, this, and this, and we're going to be able to give you these kind of opportunities. And Kyle was extremely excited about that, has embraced it, and man, it is blown off the tape at us when we watch him or in practice live, the way he's reacting to the opportunities.
Right. The thing I really have enjoyed watching about Zac Robinson in this offensive front that he's kind of been able to work with and get his hands dirty with a little bit is how he uses these skill position players to what they're best at doing. It's not like this is what I want to run, so we're going to plug and play you in this if you can, try to catch up. No, he's using Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Darnell Mooney, Bijan Robinson in places that they're best at and what can get this team moving forward faster than I've seen in the years past. And it's going to be interesting. I know Zac Robinson, it's his first time as an offensive coordinator, and the way that he's going about it is really interesting. But I do think that this is a big season for Kyle Pitts and very high expectations, but I think that he can hit them all.
Yeah, and I think there's an overriding excitement and a real joy to be at practice if you're a wide receiver and or a tight end, because you do think that there's an expanded opportunity for you to go out and help this team win some games. You're not just going to come off the ball and hit people in the mouth. And make no mistake, they're going to block people too. In fact, that's another thing that Zac talked about with Kyle. He was a much better blocker than he thought he was, and he had improved in his first 3 years. So if he got anything out of the first 3 years, maybe the last 2 in particular, is his ability to inline block, which he'll be doing some of that in the run game as well. But make no mistake, this is a group of wide receivers and tight ends that are really excited to catch the football, and they're going to get an opportunity to do it.
All right, so listen, I know that we've seen a lot of Kyle Pitts over the last couple of days in training camp, and some of the fans got an opportunity to see him at Seconder High School as well, which was so much fun. Back together Saturday. You did a fabulous job. You emceed the whole night. It was amazing. I mean, if I could be half of what you are as an MC, I'll be perfect in my career. How was kind of talk about that experience at Seconder and what that was like to see the team in front of fans and that energy that they were able to get.
I think that you bring up a great point, Taylor, because I think the players miss you being out there, and I'm talking about you, the fans. This has been such a great venue for fans to come out and populate the hillside and watch practice. The players have missed that. There's no question about it. So when they got to Seconder High School, they really enjoyed and kind of fed off of the energy. There was even a little bit of the talking about to one another, trash talk. They got after it, and I think that it was perpetuated by the energy that was in the stands by the fans. Thank you for coming out. If you did come to Seconder High School, and we appreciate Gwinnett County Schools for allowing us to be there. Great hosts. We really enjoyed being there. And we got another opportunity coming up.
Yeah, I mean, let me just talk about Seconder really fast for just a second. I mean, the amount of people that came out for that was incredible. I mean, it was a Saturday night, and it's summertime, and it's fun. But to see all those fans in Beaufort and Gwinnett County come out and support the Falcons and feel that energy, not just from this team and from the inside of the building here, but the excitement for the fans and the rest of the people in the NFL. It's just fun to watch and fun to be a part of. And if you were a part of Seconder High School and that back together Saturday, there is another opportunity to watch this team live in person. It's going to be this Friday, August the 2nd, starting at 6 p.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's going to cost $5, and of course, those proceeds will go to Emory Healthcare. The gates open at 5, and for more information on those tickets, it's going to find that information at atlantafalcons.com/training camp. It's going to be fun. We're going to be back at home. It's going to feel more like home. And if we can pack out that stadium, that'd be super awesome.
Yeah, come down. Please come down and join us. Like Taylor said, the $5 is going to a great cause, Emory Healthcare. So there's no reason not to come down. There's a lot of places to park. You'll be ready to go. So it's a great opportunity to come down and watch Kyle, watch some of these new players. There's a lot of excitement around this football team. Taylor and I have had a chance to experience here for the first week. Come join us. It'll be a lot of fun on Friday night.
That's right. So we're going to be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Friday night, come back here on Saturday, Sunday, and then we're going to travel down to Miami for joint practices for that week, then to take on Miami on Friday for the first preseason game out of 3. So exciting time, but this is your final time to see the Atlanta Falcons in training camp in person. So if you can, come out. $5, of course, those proceeds go to Emory Healthcare. But for right now, I mean, this was kind of the Kyle Pitts show, but I think we kind of covered all of Kyle Pitts, right?
Well, I think it's music to the ears of the fans. I think that they want to see their big tight end go make some plays. And believe me, there's a dude that's slinging the rock back there that is excited about Kyle Pitts and what he can bring to the table. Yes, Drake and all these other guys are going to make plays, but get ready. Your tight end is back.
That's right. All right, so you're going to have an opportunity to see your tight end this Friday again at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. For more information, please visit atlantafalcons.com/training camp. This has been fun, but we are going to go back to training camp and learn more about this team. We'll see you guys on Friday.
Got to put the pads back on and
not
get
me.
her ready.
Not me. Him.